and they all loved it. So we're probably doing it as like a little music video.
I'm not surprised, but what's the Bang song?
You know the song about how like I'm gonna cut some bangs, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Cut my own bangs, yeah, yeah.
I was mishearing that as like the onomatopoeia, like the Bang song, like
Oh yeah.
bang 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 went the trolley,
Hey,
bang
bang,
bang bang went the bell,
oh, bang,
everything just exploded.
dead. Now we are all in hell.
Oh!
It rhymes, so it's funny.
I know. We talked real quick about doing like a reference to this is so much better, and also I might have a fourth impression.
Well,
Did you hear that, Ethel Mama?
yeah.
Okay,
Oh, you could definitely do an Ethel Merman for sure.
I clearly need some practice though.
Was Ethel Merman the starring role in Meet Me in St. Louis? Many people think that it's uh, Judy Garland, but no, it was
No, it's
actually
Ethel
Ethel
Merman.
Merman.
Have yourself a merry little
Every little
Christmas.
Christmas.
It might be your
Last.
last. I mean, I just love it when she starts belting out about how sad Christmas time is.
Yeah. Hold the corset tighter, sister. um,
I I've never seen Meet Me in St. Louis, and so I was desperately trying to think of anything from it, and I almost made like a really really ragged and overworked reference to Easter Parade, and then I remembered that's a musical. That's the name of a musical.
yeah. I've never seen Meet Me in St. Louis all the way through, but it was one of those they played it on TV a lot. So, but I find it very boring because a lot of it is like we're gonna dance and do some dances, and then we're gonna sing a song, and then it's got like, oh, my boyfriend and your girlfriend, and isn't it great how we live in this life and don't talk about all the atrocities that are happening at this time in history. And
You know, I gotta say, every time there's like a slice of life musical from an earlier period of history, I'm like really grateful we had television.
yeah, because I'm like, this is what life had to be like. Oof.
Yeah, just everything's the Easter parade is coming up. This is a big deal. This is a big enough deal that you can hang a plot line to a musical on it. I want to write Easter Parade the musical without seeing it.
We could
Without ever having seen an Easter parade in my life. I want to rewrite that musical.
Oh, a modern musical would just be about watching a Simpsons episode. But then I remembered there is actually a really good modern musical about watching a Simpsons episode. So I take it back.
Wait, is that what music?
The Electric Mr. Burns.
Oh, is that a musical?
I think it's a musical.
I thought it was a straight play.
No, I think it's got songs in it.
I have a copy. I haven't read it yet, but I love the concept. But yeah, and honestly,
I saw it. I saw a version of it at a Fringe festival, and it wasn't the best version of it, but the play itself is like really, really good.
it's I just the concept of honestly, I'm so floored by the concept. I'm afraid to read it because like
I mean, it's not like yeah, read it and talk. And
I know, but it's also like you know that feeling, right? When like
yeah,
the idea is so good, and you're like, it's gonna break my heart if they fumble this.
yeah, yeah.
Like Wicked. You know what? I just listened to a synopsis of that book, and I'm convinced the only reason it's success is because the title's so good.
It is a great it is a great title. I read the book and I've seen the musical, and I think the musical is better. Like it cleans up a lot of the like messy plot things that were sort of boring and didn't really go anywhere.
From what I've heard, that's like the musical turns it into an actual story. Like it actually.
You do lose some of the weirder aspects of the book, which I understand is like kind of a legitimate complaint, because like sometimes the weird stuff is good, but the way the weird stuff was presented in the book was so like convoluted and emotionless that I'm like, it's just kind of like, it doesn't make the point you want it to make. Like it does if you think really hard about it and you really want it to make a point, you can justify it in your head, but it's just you as a good reader making that happen. It's not the product itself.
Like, honestly, that's what I've gotten from like any synopsis or thought of it, is that there are a bunch of ideas, but the book itself is just not good.
Not that great.
But
Did
you
you
know
ever
what?
read, you've seen the movie Willow, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I read the book. Book's pretty good. So it's written by George Lucas, and someone else. I can't remember the other person. But then he wrote sequels, and he's not a very good writer.
Huh.
Like, yeah, like the writing is not good, but the concept is really good.
I saw the prequels, and you're telling me.
Not a very good writer, but the concept is really good, and what he does with each of the characters in the sequel is like really good, and I'm like, oh, somebody should make this better because it's frustrating.
Yes, for whatever reason that makes me think of books with like one good idea and then everything else is garbage, or like I'm going right to Sword of Truth series, which had like
the first three books are actually pretty good.
It's got like a decent idea per book.
Yeah.
And then it starts flooding itself with really bad ideas.
Well, and then it starts turning itself into like a pseudo like weird libertarian like angel god hero, and you're like, why are you doing that, buddy? You had such a fun world.
Honestly, I don't know how I finished the book, but about halfway through the last one I read, I realized that the two ruling class main characters had the last initial of C, and his initials were BC, her initials were HC, and they were super incompetent and evil and slept with everyone. And this country had this problem where years ago, one population had enslaved another population, but like they spent so much time apologizing for it that it was bad for their civilization, you see.
Yeah.
They became the slaves to the people they had enslaved.
Yeah, I know. I was like, no, because the first two books were like pretty good.
Yeah.
And then
like not misogynistic. And then it
really dipped, and then it
was like, oh man, modern fantasy without misogyny? Oh, I better fix this.
I realized a while ago that like I really like sci-fi, and I find it very hard to get into fantasy. And I'm like, why is that? Like, that's so weird, because like I love dragons and swords and like, and then I was like, oh, it's because a vast majority of fantasy is really sexist, and I just can't get into it. Because I was like, well, what fantasy do I like? And then it's like, oh, right, okay.
I feel really sad right now because I would love to know what any of our viewers were thinking about all of this, but we'll never know.
We'll never know, because this isn't a what's the opposite? This isn't an overt show.
Yeah. This show isn't exoteric.
No, it's Insoteric.
Isoteric.
Isoteric. That's what I said.
Yeah, isoteric.
Yeah. In other
Secret
words,
show!
it's a secret show. Oh, what?
Oh, it's been said a bard's life can often be a hard life, or hill and dale to rove and always move from town to town. And some folk have inquired if ever we grow tired of ranging all around the world and never settling down.
But one should be a little wary of remaining stationary. 'Cause comfortable is lovely, but it's not the way we grow. When life starts to unravel, pick up your pack and travel. You'll find a strange serenity in places you don't know. Wriggle-dee-dum-dee-doo-da-terry-o-dee. There's so much to see beyond the open door. It's outward bound we go. Who knows what we'll find that we've never found before. Adventures waiting further down the road. It's waiting for you further down the road. You've got no map for showing which direction you are going.
But why start on a journey if you know where it will end?
And once you recognize,
To anticipate surprise, you'll relish every twist and turn that lies around the bend. Wriggle-dee-dum-dee-doo-da-terry-o-dee-da-dee-da-dee. There's so much to see beyond the open door. It's outward bound we go. Who knows what we'll find that we've never found before. Adventures waiting further down the road. It's waiting for you further down the road.
the world has got its demons. There are many reasons why you'd find it harder to be brave than be afraid.
But every life could use some danger. Every friend was once a stranger. Ships are safe in harbor, but that's not why ships are made.
Wriggle-dee-dum-dee-doo-da-terry-o-dee-da-dee. A fwit-dee-dee-dee-dee. There's so much to see beyond the open door. It's outward bound we go. Who knows what we'll find that we've never found before. Adventures waiting further down the road. It's waiting for you further down the road. Adventures waiting further down the road.
Let's go!
Crafting, crafting, crafting with Joshi and Cubby. What will we make today? What is the dice of the day? Crafting, creating, collaborating. What would an octopus say? Trivia questions, hooray! Creating, clickbaiting, can't hardly waiting for the crafting show. A crafting show with Cubby and Shoshi.
That's us.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there because I wasn't looking. You've written no.
Well, that
Your stuff is fine, I'm sure.
I know what you're talking about. Like, as an artist looking back at, like, you can see the lessons you hadn't learned yet. Or, like, I mean, if you were raised in America, you have to unlearn a lot of reflexive hate. Specifically toward women and black people. And the fact that we don't acknowledge it is exactly why this country is so effed.
It's true. One of the best things I did for myself was like a real deep self-examination about like possible unconscious prejudices that I have. Like I took a couple sociology classes in college and they were talking about that. And I was like, I'm just going to like test myself out. And I was like, oh, there's some things I need to like tiny little things. Like I would do a kid's show and like call up volunteers. And I realized that I was like only choosing white boys for my first volunteer. And I was like, that's weird. Why am I doing that? And then I made like a conscious effort to like examine why I did it. And then I started to change it. And it was like one of the best things I did for my show.
Well, that was also because this is something we've talked about. Not to like say, well, Shoshi, I believe what was happening for you then, like, but you in unpacking that, you did find that it wasn't just you, and like, since you've said that, like, you can see it more.
Yeah, it was like really good, and like little things like gender stuff where like. I used to say, like, in the beginning of the show, like, hey, guys, which, like, as adults, we can accept that guys can be, like, a gender neutral. You know what I mean? But, like, for kids, like, in their brains, when they hear guys, they really only think men. Like,
it's one of the classic battle lines of elementary school.
Yeah. And when I realized, and I was like, it can't make that much of a difference. And so for a couple shows, I just changed it to hey, everybody or hey, everyone. Huge difference in the response I got in the beginning of the show. Like, and great for all genders. Like, turns out when you do stuff good for all genders, it helps everyone. Doesn't hurt anyone. Only helps everyone.
It's yes. Yeah. Which is the thing that like is very look, something like segregation. Commonly the argument is made that the children who are being systematically discriminated against shockingly do better when they aren't being systematically discriminated against. And that is the moral choice and stuff. So, like, it's also, like, it helps the white kids, too.
Yeah, it helps everyone. It's
like,
better for everyone.
There is no negative impact whatsoever.
Nope.
But also, the increase in diversity usually does help a lot. Like those kids are dealing with things at an appropriate age.
Yeah, like no,
actually
it's only,
socialize in this country.
well, and like on a personal thing, like I am grateful every time someone calls me out on a prejudice I have. Like it's very hard for someone to call you out on that. Like I know it seems easy in the internet world or whatever, but like if you've got an actual friend who's like, hey, you might want to like examine how you're thinking about that, like it's not easy for someone to do that. So like I really respect it when somebody does that, and it's only been a positive thing for me. Like it can be easy to have your first thing to be like, oh, no, not me, you must be wrong, and then be like, how are they wrong? But it's actually a lot better just be like, oh, thank you so much for telling me that, I got to think about that, and then be like, oh yeah, all right, sweet. Like it's only been a benefit for me.
Well, it's also, there's this whole thing where like words like racist and Nazi
Sorry, I
became
just clumsily dropped something on the ground. I'm still listening.
well, they became insult words, and we're at this point where people are like, they're just reacting to them because it is a word with a negative connotation.
Yeah, and they're like, me? Something negative about me?
And like, also, I have to say, when I like spent a little time fully unpacking that, what I really found was how much I hate Nazis.
Yeah.
Because I stopped hearing it as an insult word, and I just thought about what they believe. And that is antithetical to everything that I think makes living worthwhile. And I'm still on the fence about living being worthwhile as a concept, frankly. I'm still very Thanatos dominant. The death urge sings strongly. The call of the void is just a permanent background. So I've thought about, I don't know. I feel like if I say that makes life worth living, you got to know how much I want to die.
Right.
First.
Like that, yeah.
Like I want to die. I want it so bad. I just want it so bad. I just want to go to sleep forever.
Something makes life worth living.
Yeah, when I'm like, well, that's something I would miss, I guess. I mean, I won't, because there won't be a me to miss it. And I will be happier that way somehow. I mean, I won't, because I won't be.
Right.
But it's just, it makes me, I'm thinking like 200 years in the future, I'm dust that has been lost.
Return to the earth.
There is no evidence I ever existed on this earth except for a handful of very strange legends that aren't even related. There isn't even like a theory of me having existed. There's like 5 weird urban legends that I accidentally started in my lifetime that just kind of kept going on. And it was like, you hear the origin story and it really was just like, oh, I didn't realize this was the line. I didn't mean to cut. And then like 200 years later, it's like this guy came in and he killed everyone and ordered a donut.
Yeah, maybe you're like a tree.
I mean, like, I'm just not, because like I feel like, I mean, 200 years is probably a lot for what would you say is the final death, the last time your name is ever said?
Oh, I mean, for me, like never.
Well, yeah, because first
people will carve my name in the moon, so
yeah,
they'll remember me forever.
Yeah. Oh man, I never tracked down there was this one book of short stories and each one was a different afterlife.
Oh.
And most of them were just terrible.
Oh.
But there's one where everyone is hanging around until their name is said for the last time and they're finally released. And there's this one dude who's like super cranky because his name got used for a bridge, but nobody remembers who he is. But because his name is used
around, that was it. Today's Kosciuszko. He's got a lot of bridges.
Don't you dare imply that we can ever forget about the man who loved freedom.
That's right. Actual freedom.
Actual freaking freedom. But there is a bridge in Saratoga, which was great because I was there to visit the national park with friends, and we come across this bridge first, and I'm in the back seat, so I cannot see out of the windshield at all because at my height, I miss the windshield cuts off a lot of what I can see in general.
Interesting.
And when I'm further back in the car, it's even a lot more. When I was driving my smart car, when I got to a stoplight, I had to do this so I could see the light.
Yeah.
But anyway, they start trying to pronounce this really weird named bridge. And I see it, and I've never seen Kosciuszko.
Oh, like written out. You've only
never seen it written out, and it is very intimidating written out.
Yeah. It's written like Kosciuszko.
It's written like you're trying to find a word in Scrabble.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of letters.
A lot of letters, yeah.
And there's a K and then a Z, and you're like, wait, where did the Z come from?
A C. You're like, a C?
Yeah, it's like KCYZ. It's. I'm just naming letters at this point. That's not helpful. But anyway, I see it, and like after a minute, I'm like, is that Kosciuszko? And then at the park, I found out that is Kosciuszko's brilliant military engineering is one of the two major reasons we were able to achieve victory at Saratoga over the incompetence of the American generals.
Generals.
Well, I mean, they had the title. Yeah. So that was exciting. The other one was Benedict Arnold.
Mm-hmm.
That's actually why we went, is because there's a monument dedicated
of his shoe.
Well, because they can't name him.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons.
I mean, he had some legitimate grievances, though.
He did. And he was unquestionably the hero, to the point where they were like, well, we got to give him a monument. We're not putting his name on it, but we got to give him one.
Yeah. Do people know about that? That there's a grave to Benedict Arnold's shoe?
Yeah.
Or is it his leg? Is it his boot or is it his leg?
It's his leg. He didn't actually lose the leg.
No, he wouldn't let them.
Well, it was injured very badly, and it is dedicated to a soldier, and there's like a bas-relief sculpture of a leg.
Yeah, like a boot. Yeah.
So it's everything you need to know what it's about if you're a history stan.
Right. Yeah,
and
that's a good visit, that Saratoga Fort visit.
Oh yeah, that's a gorgeous part. Well, it's like middle of nowhere, upstate New York.
And it's not that one. It's my favorite one, although it doesn't exist anymore. Is it Monmouth, New Jersey? No, begins with an M. It's Fort in New Jersey. Montclair, yes. Where they used to have like the intro video. You know, you go into any historic place and they're like, watch this video, and it's like a 10-minute video about the place. And this one was about it was the place where it was like colder even than Valley Forge. It was like worse than Valley Forge. Is it Montclair? I don't think that's it. Something else. Monmouth?
I mean, it's middle New Jersey. It's right near. It's actually right near the Edison Historic Site.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. But the intro video They don't have it anymore, but it used to have Peter Weller, aka RoboCop, as the lead actor in the thing. And you get to hear him say, not him, but he talks about, he's like, we lost 3 men to dysentery. And then a soldier next to him goes, dysentery, it's an awesome disease.
That is an entirely appropriate phrasing for the period of history.
I know.
And a terrible choice.
And like Peter Weller is in the beginning part where he's like, oh, I'm a soldier. And then like halfway through the video, he sort of wanders away and you never see him again. And I like to think it's because he is an actor, just like was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
He just wandered away and was exploring the park.
Yeah, like got his paycheck and left.
That sounds good. I was going to say about Saratoga, though, because if you visit there, it's right near Saratoga Springs. And
yeah,
they have a park where you can access like 5 of the 7 major springs of the Saratoga Springs.
Oh.
And they're just like, it's just like a little spigot, really. Like big stone thing with a basin, and you'll see people like show up with big jugs and fill them up because they go there regular because it is delicious. And it's also great because they're different levels of minerals. So like some of that water has a sulfur kick to it.
I love a sulfur water.
It takes a little getting used to, but once you do, it is so refreshing.
I in one of my favorite places in New Zealand is this place called Hanmer Springs, and the whole valley smells like sulfur, and there's like natural hot springs, and so there's like a little park you can go to, which is very lovely and like very inexpensive. It's like $25 or something for the whole day of like hanging out in this beautiful hot springs park. But then
Saratoga, it's free.
But they don't have hot springs.
No. Oh no, just cold springs.
Yeah. But you can also just drive around in the surrounding area and you can find like creeks that are hot.
Oh.
And you could just like sit in under a hot waterfall, and it's like part of a little pre-park. Or like there's a part where there's like a section of a lake where there's like a hot spring that goes into the lake. So you can kind of like take a shovel and dig a little hole, and like the sand fills up with the hot water, and then the lake cold water goes in, and you can kind of like get yourself a nice little temperature. Love it. Love a spring. Love a spring. But yeah, but the water there is all sulfury. Yummy.
Oh.
Morristown,
of course.
That's
Morristown,
the one.
New Jersey.
Yeah. But I wish I could find the video of that because it was so good. I went there with some friends and I must have watched that. We watched the video like 3 times. We're like, let's watch it again. Somebody must have it somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, you hope.
Yeah. Ever so often I'll check the internet for it.
Have you done a search on archive.org directly?
Well, I don't know if it was ever. I don't think it was ever on the internet. I think it was only ever at the park.
Yeah, but there's a lot of stuff on archive.org that's an archive of not just internet.
Oh,
like I know the Wayback is part of that, where it's an internet history, but the whole point of archive is just an archive for our culture, a free, accessible. So you can find like any public domain, anything. But you can find like tons of old-timey radio show collections and you can get like decades of radio shows that you can't find like anywhere else.
All right, I'm gonna search for that.
I gotta say, a lot of those old ones are old radio shows are a tough listen.
Oh yeah, but some of them were great.
Oh, the material is great. The audio quality is
Oh, gotcha.
it's hit or miss.
I listened to a lot of, do you know Febuaree-eeee and Molly?
I've downloaded a bunch.
Those are great.
I was trying to listen to some random Febuaree-eeee Magali some
Febuaree-eeee.
episodes of that show when I was driving out to Colorado.
Great to listen to while driving.
It was actually, I think I put it on too late in the day. It was a little disorienting because they kept saying they were going to get to the show and they never did. They just BS. And it took me a long time to realize that's just the show. They just show up and BS and joke about how they're not following a script at all.
And then they open the closet and all the junk falls.
It was they went to fill up their car with gas and they just started shooting the breeze with everyone.
And that's
and laughing at everything they said.
And I also listened to a bunch of The Shadow with Orson Welles, Lamont Cranston.
I should listen to all the Orson Welles run.
There's a lot of episodes.
He was so brilliant at really trashy genres.
Mm-hmm. And I respect that.
Like it's Touch of Evil.
I mean, even to some extent, Citizen Kane. Like, if it wasn't so beautifully shot, the story itself is quite like Pulp Fiction, noir, like campy.
It is the purest form of art. Spite.
Yeah. But it is like, I know people like, before I saw it, I was tempted to be like, oh yeah, I'm sure it's great. And then you watch it and you're like, God darn it. It is a great movie. It is it is gorgeous and beautiful, and I can't stop watching it. Oh, fine.
You know what? There's this thing. Well, I know there are a lot of stereotypes about cinema, but the fact that like most great movies are great movies because they're fun as hell.
Yeah. Some of them I don't understand why people I think are great, but some of them are like incredible.
Yeah. What's everyone's favorite movie?
Yeah. I don't know it's hard to pick a favorite movie now. The older you get, the more you're like, well, it's gotta be like top 5, you know?
Yeah, there's so many movies. Well, I just use Phantom of the Paradise as a default favorite movie because I think that explains my taste.
And I say Brazil is my favorite movie because it like explains, and it is really great.
Every once in a while, I think about Nope. I think
like that movie.
That might have been the best movie ever made.
People like, I know like the opinion is very wide on that movie, but I loved it. Yeah.
It's kind of just an unqualified masterpiece.
I know. And I think that in years to come, people will look back on it and talk more about it.
I do have to rewatch it. I probably should put some effort into trying to see it at a big screen because it is when Jean Jacket goes full flag. It's spectacular. And I did not expect it to be spectacular. And I also did not expect it to be literally every subgenre of horror.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
Every
there were things that I was
subgenre.
not expecting. And if you had told me about it, I'd be like, that's a terrible idea. That is not going to work. And then you watch and you're like, oh, it really works. And I'm very disturbed right now.
Well, here's the thing.
It's funny.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I think it comes down to the line. Maybe it's not a ship. And the fact is that could have been the worst line in cinema history.
It's
but
like
Jordan Peele
no,
is a damn genius.
That's no moon. It's as good as that.
Well, that's not a bad line, and for sci-fi,
No, it's a great. It's like
so
it's
good.
it's a great. Yeah. Oh, it's
Well,
yeah, it's good.
but like that movie is like taking you on a path. Like also mad love for a movie that is taking you on an orchestrated ride the entire time and not letting you know that. Because like by the time I figured out I was watching a Rube Goldberg,
Yeah,
that is just like perfectly put together. I was in the final climax of the movie, and I'm like, everything in this movie was leading to this. This is
yeah,
and it didn't get nominated for Best Oscar.
yeah.
It's almost like Hollywood hates.
Oh, you just
horror.
reminded me. I have to vote. I get to vote in the SAG awards because I'm in SAG.
Oh,
So
sweet.
I get screeners, which is cool. I mean, a lot of them you can just watch anyway, but it's cool to watch them on the screener.
Yeah, it's super. Plus, that's physical media. That's hard to find these days.
No, I got digital.
Oh.
I opted for digital. Less trash.
Yeah, that makes sense. Plus,
Yeah.
you're going to see a lot of movies you don't want a copy of.
Yeah. And it's fun, but you still get, so there's this thing when you have the digital like SAG release copy is ever so often a little number like comes up in the bottom of the screen, and that's like the thing where it's like, this is illegal if you're sharing it with anyone else. But yeah, I'm not good about watching every single nominated movie. My partner is, but I'm not. I just can't. Some movies I'm like, I can't. It's gonna be too boring. I can't do it.
I just it takes a lot to watch a movie I don't want to watch anymore. I just don't have the spare focus for it like I used to when I was younger.
Oh, I never did. I was like never like, I don't know. I should be, I suppose.
Should is a judgment.
Yeah, I'm judging myself.
Yeah, good work.
Yeah, thank you.
We're supposed to be judging ourselves every moment of every day. Well, that's what I do.
Judgment.
Yeah. I have a little guy who's me, but he's dressed up like Q in the first Star Trek Next Generation episode, where he's that weird judge from the Dark Ages that we are clearly headed towards. It's a great reference.
Yeah.
None of my thoughts appreciate it. They are Philistines. Is that racist?
No, it might be prejudice, though.
Well, also, I think we're safely distanced from the geography of Philistia.
Well, they're like a religious subset.
Oh, I thought it was a governmental entity.
Sort of.
Like Samaritan.
Well, no, that was actual. I don't know. I don't remember.
Honestly, this is a great way to derail if somebody wants to have a religious conversation you don't want to have. Just be like, is Samaritan racist? I mean, think about it.
And then they'll be like, what?
I don't want to think about that. Why? What are you doing to my brain? Why do you make it hurt?
So, crafting.
I don't have anything. But in my defense, yesterday was the last day I got to coach 8th graders in Shakespeare.
Yay.
So I'm chilling out a little. I get to watch A Midsummer Night's Dream tonight. And then tomorrow I'm going out to the live theater to see Macbeth.
I'm so proud. You must be so proud of them.
Oh, I am. It's so amazing. I honestly think it's a good thing to have like a fun performance experience at that age. Like, I didn't really get a chance to do anything performance wise until high school, and then it was a musical, and because I hadn't trained my voice at all, I could never get a decent role despite my natural outflowing stage presence and charisma.
Charisma.
Yeah. I got cast as the mill owner in Carousel.
Ooh.
Which, do you know Carousel?
Sort of.
It's the story of a slutty carnival worker who hooks up with this woman in town.
Yeah.
And he beats her.
Yeah.
And then he dies.
Yeah. And then comes back as a ghost to observe
15 years later to slap his daughter.
Yeah.
Ghost slap his daughter.
Basically.
Yeah. But here's the thing.
When you walk through the storm, hold your head up high. Like, that's a beautiful song.
So is June is busting out all over.
Oh, yeah.
The soundtrack is not bad. This was a real good clam bake. Honestly, the songs have nothing to do with anything that's happening, and they're pretty good. Carousel as a show would be a great review. The plot is pretty terrible.
It's just dark. The plot is very dark. And sad.
The hit felt like a kiss.
I know.
Joshi, the hit felt like a kiss.
I know. It's very dark.
Why are there multiple songs with that line? That's not a sentiment we need a variety of approaches toward. That's one that we can just not acknowledge at all as a sentiment.
I was the reporter in Anything Goes.
I don't know anything good. Oh, wait. I have to finish the story.
Oh, sorry, yes.
Because it is great. Because I was the mill owner, and there's the big crime where I get mugged, but goes wrong because I have a gun, and I wrestle with the gun with the guy who's.
Oh wait, do you die?
No. Oh no, the main character dies. I'm a part of that though.
Sorry, I mean you're part of the scene where the guy dies.
Yeah, because I'm the mill owner. And we're wrestling, and like, it's high school theater. It's high school theater costuming. This is just after the crucial plot point of the clam bake. It was real nice. And I'm wearing this brown cardigan that's not a good fit for me. And then years later, I'm on television, and the local cable station, which mostly just has like cheap digital announcements of like school lunches and closures and stuff. It's mostly just like a bulletin board with announcements. I turn on this channel and they are playing My High School musical.
What?
And it is the scene where I'm wrestling for the gun with the character who is, I'm not making this up, named Jigger. And he is like a foot shorter than me. And with the brown sweater, it literally looks like he's being mauled by a bear. And I'm like,
incredible to see.
I'm like, you know what? I don't think the fight choreography really made that look like a close match. I'm thinking that looked a little bit different from the inside than it did to the audience.
Man, I would love to see a video of some of my high school. Like, that must have been fascinating.
In college, I made a bunch of friends of mine in the improv group, we decided we were going to make a sketch television show, not realizing how much work that was. So like all semester we made like one episode. And like, because we made it on campus, we submitted it, and I only knew they aired it because somebody randomly called my dorm room to call me an F slur and say I was on television, and it's the show. So apparently some D-bags were just watching campus TV, and they were like, whoa, I think this was filmed on campus. Oh, hey, let's look at the credits and call some of these people some names. They should know they're on television.
Late 90s.
The bundles of sticks.
Wow. Did you just laugh when they called you that?
No, I was just like, what?
What?
It was like, you're an F slur and you're on TV. And then they hung up, and I'm like, I don't, what? And then I turned on the campus chat, and sure enough. But what a way to find out.
Yeah. Wow, what a way to find out. That's a great story, Cubby. I can't believe I never heard that before. It's such a good story.
I have a few fun adventures. One time, I volunteered to dress up as Digger the Worm, who was I've always wanted to be like a costume mascot. I grew up going to Phillies games, seeing the Philly Fanatic, the goat of mascots at work. And then I grew up and furries are a thing, and I'm like, well, if I have a mascot costume, it's gonna be kind of weird. But then it's also like, I never had an idea that was good enough.
Except going as your own mascot, like you dressed as yourself, as Cubby.
I guess I just want to do a Collegeville Halloween costume of myself. I don't want to do a full mask. That's weird.
Yeah.
That's a lie.
Yeah. You're like, that's too far, Shoshi.
Although now that you've said it out loud, it's probably gonna sink into my brain, and I'm gonna keep thinking about it and be like, yeah, it would be fun to take a giant Cubby head off and be like, guess who's here?
It's me.
It's me. But I volunteered to be Digger the Worm, which is this big worm costume who was supposed to promote recycling on campus. And I just signed up for random time, which was, I found out at the time, which was to go around the dorm rooms in the early evening and just go door to door to people in their dorm rooms and just tell them about recycling.
That's amazing. What's
really amazing is that we chose a time. Whoever chose this time, like I said, I randomly. It was like it was designed to only catch people who were in their dorm room getting stoned.
Amazing.
So there weren't a lot of people at home, but they were so into the fact that a worm just showed up at their door.
What? Wow. Some people that's how your name will live forever, Cubby. But just as a worm, people will keep talking about the legend of the worm, recycling worm that showed up when they were high. People are like, that's not real. That didn't really happen. No, I swear. A giant worm showed up at my door and told me to recycle.
That's you can see why I found it believable that my legacy will be a handful of very unbelievable stories that are not actually connected to me or each other in any way.
Hello. People have been saying hello.
Yeah, I put a couple of them on. Well, that was
hello. Yeah, it was a while ago.
That was the second lolly-ho.
Yeah. And we haven't acknowledged chat at all, which is very bad of us.
We've just been chatting. I'm sorry.
We've been crafting a conversation.
But also, you were about to tell us the plot of Anything Goes.
No. I don't remember. It's like they're on a ship and there's like person and they like a person, but then a different person likes that person, and then they end up with the right people at the end. I get a kick out of you.
But the antidote and the diamond they're getting kicked across the room, right?
What?
There's the antidote and there's the diamond.
That's in Anything Goes?
And there's Liu Pang and there's Indiana Jones.
What? Yes. No, the beginning of I get it.
Yeah.
Temple of Doom. But yeah, I was cast as the reporter, which is a non-singing role.
You got cast as a non-singing tree?
Mm-hmm. I did. Oh, to be a mute tree. So I've been a mute tree now, and I've been the bear in Winter's Tale. Now all I have to do is the back half of a horse, and I'll have completed the acting trifecta.
I feel like there's ignobilities on your horizons that you have not yet even dreamed of, Shoshi.
Well, those are just the top three.
Those are undeniable classics.
Top three. Yeah.
You and Nick should both be the bottom part of a horse for Halloween together.
Two back halves of a horse.
Yeah.
Well, someone did that. Some TV show did that as a joke. I don't remember, and I just saw it recently, and Nick and I were both like, "Oh, that's such a! How come I've never seen that before?"
Was it the Goes Wrong show?
It was.
Oh, they had the panto horse, but they only had two backs.
So good. So good. Random smut.
Which is connected to the name Moriarty Montalban. And not, again, I just leave legends in my wake.
I like the phrase random smut is a very good phrase. It seems like it needs to be said in like an RP accent. Random smut.
Random smut.
Random smut.
Oh, I think I was going more random smut. I found an entire garbage bag of random smut.
Yeah,
in the forest.
And I've taken it home with me. Oh, thank you. Thank you to some guy. Would you like to do some trivia?
Always.
Yeah, let's do some trivia. I have some right here. Interesting. All right. Okay, good. We'll see. We'll try this one out. All right. Wait, I got to do the banner.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah, and then also have to do this part. I still love those little things. They're so good.
It's part of what makes life worth living.
Trivia. Oh, if you've never played before, this is your first time we all play together. Oh, wait, let me answer this question. Badly. I practiced for a while, and I can do 3-ball cascade for maybe like 4 seconds.
Yeah, I'm about the same. I got the complete Klutz juggling book one time when I was a teenager, and I spent hours and hours to get to that. Like, I mean, four tosses would be very good for me.
That's, yeah, I practiced a lot, and that's about as much as I could do.
But I have since learned that I have a developmental disorder that does make motor skills. It inhibits both motor skills and my ability to track moving objects.
A funny juggling club? Go on.
Ooh. See, that being said, we do both know a lot of jugglers.
We know a lot of jugglers.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever heard of Pablo Berganza. Pablo Organza. Oh, that's better.
Pablo Organza. That's very good. Pick Pock Lahoobity Who. Pavlov Karplansky.
I've heard of him.
I'm a big fan. People and places. Ah, all right, all right. I did notice though, historically I've been quite clumsy my whole life. I've random bruises all over my body because I bang into things and I don't even remember it at this point. Piccolo Brigade, that's good. But I did notice that when I was juggling, I never got good at juggling, but it did help me. I was less clumsy. So I think I kind of want to go back to like practicing juggling because just to see if it'll help. Because I've noticed my clumsiness has kind of come back since I haven't been doing it. So I might start it up again. I have my juggling balls somewhere. I did contact juggling for a little while, and that I really liked. That was cool because it's all like, it's about feeling it and staying in contact with it. And that seemed, I don't know, that was not easier, but like more interesting to me than like throwing things up and catching them. I don't know. I might start. I'll see if I can find my balls. Popo Gibabo. That's good. So good. All right. Trivia. If you think you know the answer, put it in the chat. We're all playing together. Here we go. People and places. What hard partying folks are known as the Texans of Germany? The Bavarians, Hamburgers, or Hessians? Have never heard this before. Maybe this is an early 2000s thing. What hard partying folks are known as the Texans of Germany? The Bavarians, the Hamburgers, or the Hessians?
Now,
I think I know.
I think they're trying to trick us with Hessians because that's who George Washington attacked on Christmas morning.
That's right.
Where they were sleeping off.
Mm-hmm. The hard partying.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say Bavarians.
But that's
Bavaria is in the south of Germany.
Ooh.
And also that's where like the big like Oktoberfest parties are. So I think that's what I'm gonna say, but I could be wrong.
Okay. I was gonna say that for the same reasons, but since you took that answer and I already eliminated Hessians, I'm gonna say hamburgers.
Nice. I've never heard anyone refer to people of Germany as the hamburgers. I feel like that's like a really old, like World War II.
No, it's just the one city. Because Bavaria is a region, but Hamburg is just the one city.
That's what's confusing to me as well. And
it's
Hessian is just like, is that an area? Is that like a group of people? They're all three, like one's a city, one's an area.
One's a region.
Yeah.
They are, it doesn't feel like they're all quite the same scale, which is weird.
Yeah. Yay!
I agree. Huzzah!
All right, next question. Arts and entertainment.
Oh,
we're gonna love that. We're gonna like this one.
Ich bin ein.
What animal is Yakko yakking with when the Animaniacs things get to and Yakko yaks? We all know all the lyrics to the Animaniacs opening credits, right?
Well, that's not one of the permanent. Oh no, that is a permanent. That's not one of the bologna in our slacks.
No. What animal is Yakko yakking with when the Animaniacs theme gets to and Yakko yaks? I mean, right? It's gotta
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
When they said what animal is Yakko,
Yeah.
and you paused a bit, I was like, they have very
Never
clearly
revealed.
never established.
Yeah.
Well, except for Dot.
Dot. They've said who Dot is? What Dot is?
What Dot is? Yeah.
They have? When?
Ask me what Dot is.
What's Dot?
Cute!
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I think it's got to be a yak. All right, history.
Well, their psychiatrist calls them like little puppy children. But it's not, that's not an official thing.
I think, yeah, that's more him like trying to put a label on them.
I always thought Wacko was the middle.
That was their younger sister, Dot.
Yeah.
But maybe it is middle.
I don't know. I'm suddenly very interested in the Warner Birthover. But
Who has, I mean,
I thought it was Yakko, Wacko, Dot. Because Yakko's clearly the oldest.
has older sibling energy for sure.
Okay.
But I feel like
Here's the thing, Evelyn Evermore. I can't trust my memory. As a general rule.
Whoa. How did I never put that together?
Dang.
Wow. What? How did I'm so angry right now.
This is
Wow.
yeah.
I'm so angry that I never put that together. Victoria London Fogg, thank you.
It's so obvious in hindsight.
Oh, they're so smart.
Oh.
Amazing. All right, next question. History. What river's headwaters? What headquarters? What?
I love that. Or as the kids say,
There it is. What river's headwaters did Henry Rowe Schoolcraft stumble across in 1832 thanks to his Ojibwe Indian guide? So he didn't do anything. He's like, what river did this random guy stumble across?
because he was with someone who's shown it to him.
Was there. Like, why? What is that? Why do we know his name and not the actual? Anyway, what rivers? I don't know, like the Mississippi.
1830s feel late for the Mississippi, though. I'm trying to think of any like major rivers on the West Coast. Because that's after Lewis and Clark.
My partner's saying the Colorado.
Oh, that's a good one.
Stumble across. What? No, someone showed it to you. What are you talking about? You know, I stumbled across this large building when I was in Manhattan.
Oh, wow. You discovered
I discovered
a brand new building that nobody knew about in Manhattan?
The Empire State Building. I discovered it. I just stumbled across it.
Wait, there were humans around, right? Not dinosaurs. This was Manhattan, not Dino-Hatton.
Why has no one done that?
They have.
Oh, they had. There's a Dino-Hatton?
There's a Dino-Hatton in Mario Brothers. Super Mario Brothers movie.
Of course.
The only one worth talking. I don't like Chris Pratt. So
I love that original.
But that original is so good.
Movie. It's so weird.
And like,
Yeah.
what did we ever do to deserve Bob Hoskins as Mario? Because that was perfection.
Great choice.
I could watch Bob Hoskins with a Brooklyn accent, and it's not a bad. That man is so good at vocal work.
He's just great.
Flirting with that large black woman in the club. I could watch that for 2 hours.
I should watch that movie again.
Oh, there's like an improved cut of it with a couple of like missing scenes added that like
Ooh.
it flows better.
It's like Anthony Hopkins, right?
It's
who's no, not Anthony Hopkins.
from
what's his name?
Easy Rider, Dennis Hopper.
Yeah. Thank you, Dennis Hopper.
The Hop.
That's his name. Yes.
That left hop where Pyramus's heart does hap.
Hap. With his heart doth Dennis.
I've been listening to Pyramus. I'd heard Pyramus and Thisbe like 4 times yesterday, and like every time I'm like listening, I'm making the rhymes work. Like,
I always think that like Bottom is so funny, and I always think it can be pushed funnier.
It took me. Okay. I cannot complain about the Bottom in this play because he's finally just being a weirdo on stage.
Amazing.
Which was a moment of discovery where he's just like, he just hit something and he's being like weird and strange, and I absolutely love it. But it took me like a week to convince him to practice making a donkey noise. And I still don't know how much it landed, because he's doing a big end to that song he's singing, and I'm like, you need to take that note and bray. You need to go, Eeee! And he's like, oh. And I'm like, I've been hinting at it. I've been like, practice your donkey noise. I got a use for it. And I was hoping to get him curious and to get him, but then also I'm seeing like what he is discovering, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's being a total weirdo. I didn't need to worry.
Amazing. Oh, I'm so excited. I want to hear all about it when you see it tonight. Oh my God, that's really great. Incredible.
Oh.
That's amazing.
Like he's been a little bit he's been good on his lines until the last scene, and I'm like, and I wanted to like just say like, okay, this is where you find the long thing, but he's a little bit terrible on his lines to it. So it's actually extra on your edge, because you have no idea how long he's gonna get. There's like nothing really containing the death, and it's like, you know what, this is maybe better. Which is he was so good on Act 1. Like he knew all of his lines, and then like his big scene is where he's been bad on lines. Sorry, young actors.
He'll nail it tonight.
Oh, it's whatever he does will be complete perfection.
That's what I always say. You can't mess up on stage. You can only mess up in rehearsal.
On like, yes, but I don't. Middle schoolers are very literate about what things mean, and I feel like you can say that to younger, and you can say that to older, but right around there is right when they're not going to find any comfort.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, no, like, that isn't something I would say to. That's really only something you can say to like an older actor who like understands that.
Yeah. Sorry, I know we're in the middle of a card, but if you want to hear my whole philosophy of like acting coaching, is basically every time I see them like doing something that's not helping them, I say, hey, I can see you're doing this, and I tell them why they're doing it. And then I offer some alternatives. Just because I know the least helpful thing is to be like, you're getting nervous. Don't get nervous. There's nothing actionable there.
No,
But I can
I was like, okay.
But I can be like, you get worse on your lines in this bit, and I can see that you're in your head more. You're thinking about it more. You're more worried about it. So if you find yourself there, think like fill your conscious thought thinking about your breathing. Focus on your breathing a little bit, and then just let the words come because you'll pause, but that's just because you're worrying. They always come. They're there. And if they're not, your scene partner will help you out, you know? But like, so that's like...
That's very good. Cubby, that's very good advice.
Well, I've noticed that I've been able to like figure out why we do the things that give us trouble. And it's not hard. You spend a minute thinking, you're like, well, why am I scared in this moment? And if you break it down, you're like, oh, because I'm thinking ahead, because I'm not. And it's like, whatever you're doing. But yeah, sorry. I have a lot of thoughts because this has been a month and I don't know when I'm going to be able to do this again. And it was really great and I love doing it. And I guess I'd also love to convince myself that I approached it well because it also seemed very easy and fun. And so I have a suspicion that it was more to my benefit than anyone else's, which is a guilt thing. But I think that's just basic puritanical American BS programming. Which, when we were talking about like evaluating yourself, the one thing I thought of didn't get a chance to say, I know it was in your head, it never ends. You can never stop just examining your thoughts and being like, oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, because it's good.
Yeah. But that's also, I'm sorry, I was going to say that when I was saying about like, but
yeah,
not hearing Nazi as an insult, but hearing it as like representing what Nazis believe in, which is
makes
me
way more
angry.
insulting.
Yeah, so if you take the insult word and you put it on the concept, you're like, I'm not racist. But that was a racist thought.
And I should figure that I should think about that.
Yeah.
My light switch went out. That's fine.
That was me doing the weave.
What's the weave?
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have
tell
said
me.
that.
I need to know. What's the weave?
It's how Donald Trump describes his rhetorical style.
His rhetorical style?
You know how he like just goes on stage and babbles for an hour?
Yeah.
He calls it the weave. Going back and forth on different topics. Yeah.
Science and nature. What?
I love science and nature.
Me too. What creature spends a few years on land as an EFT, before living the rest of its life in the water? An axolotl, a newt, or a mud puppy?
Ooh, that's tough.
I know what it is, but it is a tough one. What creature spends a few years on land as an EFT before living the rest of its life in the water? An axolotl, a newt, or a mud puppy?
I'm gonna guess it's the first one just because I want to see if I can pull off the traditional pronunciation. Ashalosh.
Oh, is that what it is actually said?
That's the Incan pronunciation.
Because the X is a sh sound. That's right.
I believe it's Ashalosh.
Ashalosh. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Cool.
It's really fun to say.
It is, but Ashalosh is also fun to say.
It is.
I think it is. I think it's a mud puppy. That's my guess as well.
Well, I'm going to guess it's mud honey, which was Banned in the 90s and also a Russ Meyer film.
All right. Okay. All right. And I'm going to say it's Newt Gingrich,
Whoa.
who is a politician.
He took a contract out on America.
I heard that.
You know, I was trying to be funny, but that might be more accurate.
Mm-hmm. Haha.
That is
Science
very.
show.
That is
Oh.
very.
Sports. When will Newt Gingrich return to the water?
Oh,
Great
we've
question.
been waiting.
Great
That would
question.
Such a glorious day.
Uh,
If I ever have a plush Axo, I'm going to name it Axo F. Do, 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 do.
what? 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 What's
Okay.
happening?
Imagine it now.
Okay.
A plush axolotl.
Okay. Ashalosh.
Axolotl. But it's got like 2 halves of a coconut. One in each of its 4 paws, right? So like it's 2 coconuts.
Right.
It's Axo Foley.
Wow. Amazing.
Okay, so now I'm on the market. I'm gonna find an Axo plush, and it's gonna live with all of my semi-musical instruments that are really more just random sound making things.
Axel Foley. Wow. That's great.
Which is also a collection I need to feed. I really ought to have more Foley and sound effect things.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Although I do have a couple of good ones.
Sports and leisure.
Oh, this is the boring one. I'll just keep derailing us.
You're going to like this question. What racket game, once known as Battledore, did 19th century kids call hit and scream? It's a good question. What racket game, once known as Battledore, did 19th century kids call hit and scream? Battledore.
Battledore.
Would you like to face me in a game of Battledore?
You know, perhaps you're up for a bit of the old hit and scream.
Hit and scream.
Okay, I know it's wrong, but I'm gonna say pickleball. Because that would be really funny. Also, pickleball is not nearly that old. I guess,
Badminton is a good.
but the scream part, I almost, could it be tennis? Tennis is an older game than most people realize, which is actually very important for theater history.
Why don't we still call it, if it is tennis, why don't we still call it Battledore? That's what I'm calling it from now on.
I mean, whatever it is, I'm going to be referring to it as Battledore or Hit and Scream. Those are...
You know it has to be an old game because the scoring system is so weird.
Oh, you know, that makes sense. But it's... I mean, the funny thing about tennis is if there weren't that, like, 15th century tennis fad, we wouldn't have court theater. Because that's where the plays were all held. In the tennis courts.
No.
Because the rich people had indoor tennis courts. So they all had a room large enough. Because it was too early in history to have like private balls. So you wouldn't have like the ballroom, everything like that. The first like big room that you could control enough to have a theater thing in it was a tennis court.
What room do you think Hamlet put on his play in? Is it like the dining hall?
I think it's partly the dining hall, but also I think partly it's a tennis court. I think Shakespeare would have had it in his mind that they had a tennis court at Elsinore.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I
Honestly,
believe you mean a battledore court.
Battledore.
Battledore. Whoa, what? Oh, okay. We know the answer to this question. Wild card. What colorful comedians do calrophobes fear?
Oh, well, I recognize that word. So
Calrophobe.
I
think like we know.
Kula. I'm never sure how to pronounce it.
Coulrophobe. Might be
'Cause-
coulrophobe. It's
Because it's got that OU in it, right?
yeah, cool. Cowrophobe. I'm gonna. That's how.
Yeah, because honestly, I've never recognized the root word of this one, which is weird because I've read a lot about.
Yeah,
Not like a lot.
That's a good question.
I might look it up on Eddie Online.
Yeah. I'm gonna say I don't think we've said the answer we think it is out loud. It's clowns, right?
Oh yeah, that's fear of clown.
Okay. All right. Answers. What will they be? Answers. Let's see. What hard partying folks are known as the Texans of Germany, Bavarians, Hamburgers, or Hessians? Bavarians.
Woo!
What animal is Yakko yakking with when the Animaniacs themes get to and Yakko yaks? A yak.
And meanwhile, the Platon plays the sax.
What river's headwaters did some random dude, Henry Rowe Schoolcraft, stumble across in 1832 thanks to his Ojibwe Indian guide? What's the Mississippi?
Oh.
But it was the headwaters.
Oh, I forgot what that word meant.
Yeah. But clearly people had known about it for a long time.
Also, Shoshi, very important news.
Oh, thank you.
Followed by...
I made it myself. Thank you. Good.
You should hear her Voyager theme song.
I forgot all about that. What creature spends a few years on land as an act before living the rest of its life in the water? An axolotl, or newt, or a mud puppy? It was a newt.
Oh, it was a newt.
I was wrong. Amazing. Now we know. What racket game, once known as Battledore, did 19th century kids call hit and scream?
This is going to have a permanent effect on my language.
Badminton. It is badminton.
Okay.
Badminton.
Excellent work. I believe Fogg got that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no, just some guy.
Yeah.
It's just that they both have monochromatic pictures. So sometimes I see the little shape.
Right. And you're like, oh, yeah. What colorful comedians do coulrophobe sphere? Clowns. Are you looking up the etymology?
Yeah.
Because I am very curious.
Etym online.
Coulrophobe.
C-O-U... Wait, let me see the spelling again.
Yes. Coulrophobe.
R-L? Oh. from the Greek colon or limb, which is the theory is it's supposed to evoke like Stiltwalker clown.
Oh, interesting. So it's fear of stilts, technically.
Well,
Is that where the word clown comes from?
No. Well, because its phobias are from looking at it. It seems it's because there isn't a Greek word for clown. The modern Greek word is clown, which is from English.
Interesting.
What's the word? Well, I can't really remember the origin of clown. It might just be Latin.
That's fascinating.
Oh my goodness. Well, the first origin I can find is 1860s clown or cloyne, man of rustic or coarse manners, boor, peasant, which is a reminder of just how many theater words just mean someone from a small town.
But Shakespeare used the word clown. So it has to be before that.
It
has to be an older word than that.
Well, there seems to be some possible. It might come from a Scandinavian or Germanic.
Oh, okay.
Word for like.
Oh yeah.
Clumsy. Clot, lump. Which, if it's a low enough origin, might be why it just popped up in the 16th century.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. A rustic.
Right, which is what vaudevillian means.
Yeah, yeah. So, like, Shakespeare was using it as a rust. Well, because he would, if it was an actual clown, he would call it a fool.
Right, but he would call his fools clowns.
Sometimes.
In the text, but the role was fool. But it was already clearly in that world, like of a fool, a clod.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because clown as an insult is kind of thought to be a secondary derivation rather than its primary. It seems like the costume character is a secondary derivation of clown. And that originally it just meant like bumpkin.
Yeah. Yes. Like, yeah. Yeah. Like a Dutch or German, like clumsy person.
Kohlraphobe.
Yeah. And then around the 1600s, it kind of made to be like to behave inappropriately.
Okay.
Like he clowned you. He tricked you.
Yeah, clowning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Class clown, meaning more somebody who acts out than one who's actually funny.
Yeah. Clownery. Interesting.
Oh, I believe that's a place you're not supposed to serve hateration. Oh, that's a dancery, not a clownery.
Haterade, you mean?
Oh, hateration in this dancery. Don't need no hate, which I gotta say is like that's on the. I don't know that Shakespeare ever played with language as fun and instantly recognizable and delightful as I don't need hateration in this dancery. Like,
I mean, it's pretty good.
it's so good. I'm Mary J, just bravo. Like, it's a great beat. That's what I knew it for years. I never listened to it. I'm like, that is just masterful wordplay.
Masterful.
Yeah, I'm just like, it took me minutes to realize I hadn't heard the word dancery before because it was just instantly recognizable. Also,
dancery is great.
Also, if I ever have a home again in my life, I think I might refer to it as a clownery.
You should.
Cubby's Clownery.
Cubby's Clownery. I love that. That's accurate and great. And we'll set this. I think, yes, I love that. Because, like, what's the thing where, like, naming something is then it becomes that thing? And I think the world needs a clownery.
Human cognition? Is because that's kind of how our cognition works. Once we have a word, we can have a concept.
Yeah.
Although one is certainly welcome to balter at a dancery, you will be surprised at the feats of skill that are being demonstrated. God, I love words.
I know. Words are great.
They're so fun. Sorry, I'm overly online, and all of the talk about discourse and like where people start trying to sound smart and use big words, and it just always reads as desperate. But then, like, apparently, if you use, a lot of people will read like a very verbose statement as inherently condescending.
Balter. It is. A dancery is the place where you balter. How did balter, how did that come about? It's Yesterday's Night. Was it, I know it has something to do with J. Jacqueline Holloway, but I don't remember how we got on the balter.
Well, there's like a meme of balter, which is like just the definition and a bit of a celebration of how great a word it is.
Yeah. A baltery. But a dancery is incredible. Dude. There we go. That's right. Yeah, we took a picture and Jax was baltering. Or we were baltering.
Oh, Fog, you're gonna love this.
I do now.
To dance with great fervor, if not grace.
That is the definition of how I dance. Actually, it's the definition of how I do everything.
I once tried to balter a conversation and exchange, and it was very embarrassing when I realized I should have wanted to barter, but my dance moves were energetic, I will say.
Enthusiasm. If you don't have talent, at least have enthusiasm. That's my philosophy. That's right. We were in the gestalt, the zeitgeist.
Yeah. The gestalt of the zeitgeist.
That's right. We were in the gestalt of the zeitgeist. All right. So we did.
I love a good conversation that's just filled with words I kind of know, and like I remember the definitions as I'm using them.
Yeah.
And then like.
That's right. Yes, it is.
It's fun to say something and then eventually realize what you've just said and be amused by it.
Cubby, do you have any dice to show off?
I should have been prepared for that question.
No, you shouldn't have. I sprang it on you.
No, I should have. It should have occurred to me that such a thing might occur.
Well, you're also in transition. I don't know what's packed away.
I don't know what's packed away. I'm sorry. I'm feeling very confused lately.
Yeah, a lot of stuff's going on.
You know what? I don't know if I ever showed off these. They're not that fancy or obscure.
Here, wait. Okay.
There's for some reason I always see this style of the mold called Magic Burst dice, and they're usually black plastic with different bright colors, but they also use stick, and
Ooh, I like those. Those are very pleasing.
it's kind of a very tropical vibe.
Or they look like Easter eggs.
Yeah, it's just very fun. The colors are delightful.
Yeah.
Not always.
Yes, they look like candies. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely want to pick those up and put them in my mouth and eat them. I love the like scroll work that's on there. A lot of really good detail.
Yeah, and honestly, it's a very cheap mold. You can find any of the iterations for a very good deal. Like, they are mass produced and easy to find for $5 or less a set.
They're very pleasing.
They are, and I saw them in the white, and I thought all of the colors looked so good together, and I couldn't choose, so I got all of the colors.
And they look really good all together.
Yeah, and like one set of dice isn't enough for like a game.
You need at least two.
You need at least two. So if I had 4, like I'm covered. This is covered for game. That gives me 4 6-sided dice if I need to do thing. Gives me enough 20s for advantage or disadvantage rolls.
Yeah. Yeah, those are good dice.
Oh, I forgot I had these. I've also got these are Halloween dice.
Ooh, look at those with the little webs. Those are great.
And then the 6 has different. The 8's got like ghosts.
Oh, little ghosts.
And the 12 has like bats.
Yeah.
And then the 6 has like everything. And it's got
what is that? Pumpkins, graveyard, webs, ghosts. What's that? A candle?
a candle.
A candle and bats. Amazing. That's cool. Those are great. Those are really fun.
Yeah, the candles are for the percentile dice.
Nice.
Which also, I gotta say, when I turn 50, which is coming up soon, that's a great symbol for it.
Ooh, that really is. Ooh, spooky 50.
Ooh.
Half a century. That's pretty cool.
I kind of forgot about those. Those aren't even with my Halloween dice collection. What am I doing?
Those are great. I don't know. I think you showed me those a while ago, but I hadn't seen them in a long time. They were really good.
It's genuinely surprising how many elaborate 7-die Halloween dice sets there are with specific little pictures on like every face. Like I've got, I think 3 or 4 different designs of 7-day set
Of
Halloween themed.
completely different Halloween.
Completely different companies. At least
I mean, it makes sense
3.
though.
What?
It makes sense though.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great aesthetic.
Mm-hmm. And like, if you're into games, you're probably into Halloween as well. There's like a big crossover. Oh, and that means like you're a full adult too. And then there's like a full adult in between.
Yeah,
age, which is pretty cool.
that's right. In the time it took to make me, you could have made 3 full adults, which probably would have been a better use of time.
That means you're just 3 adults stacked in a trench coat.
Is that why I'm tall?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
That's so cool. Wow.
Well, I'm glad you like me, but I don't think full adult is accurate. Like, nah, I mean, I'm complimented, really. I just don't want anyone to get the wrong idea.
Oh, we have a good variety of ages in our chat. That's nice. That's good. We appeal to a wide audience, Cubby. Aw.
That is hard to nitpick, Fog. I'm very impressed because I'm good at nitpicking.
That's really nice. That's a good compliment. I would cross stitch that for you.
That would look good in a cross stitch.
But I won't.
No, that would take a very long amount of time.
And I don't have the materials needed for that.
I do. Somewhere.
Somewhere.
I absolutely have everything I need to do a cross stitch project. Except for the will.
Which is fine. You don't have to do every craft.
No, but if I ever want to, I'm surprisingly prepared.
Which is pretty cool.
Well, also, my brain shut down for a sec. What's the last thing you said? It really did.
That it's cool. You can do any craft at any time if you need to.
Oh, yes. I've noticed that sometimes the best tool for a craft is misusing a tool for a related craft.
Oh, go on.
Just generally, I've found the more little things that help do something properly you have at your disposal. It's surprising just how many
like crossover things.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a good example, but mostly I will just use like sewing supplies to sculpt with.
Ooh, yeah. But yeah, I've definitely used like a knitting needle or a crochet hook to sculpt things before.
Honestly, a knitting needle and a crochet hook are just very useful things to have on hand.
It's true.
For any
very
craft.
Useful items. Yeah. I've been using chopsticks for a lot of things, which are basically knitting needles.
I felt very seen.
Yeah, it turns out a stick is still a pretty useful tool.
It's like, I know humans keep talking about tool usage.
I think
like they're so great.
Are basically just sticks.
They're all just sticks. Like a hammer is just a stick with a heavy end.
Mm-hmm.
What's an awl except for a very pointy stick?
A screwdriver, just a stick with a flat end or a notched end. A screw
knife
is a stick that's sharp.
Yeah. It's just sticks.
All sticks. Sticks all the way down. Exactly.
And what are thoughts, if not sticks of the mind?
What are sentences? But just sticks of thought.
I like how you said that. I like your tongue sticks for that. Good tongue stick usage.
Thank you. Yeah, just sticks all the way down.
Yeah.
What's a wheel but a stick that's a circle?
I mean, an axle is pretty important to a wheel and is just a stick, I will say. You think it's just two sticks, just a big disc stick and a more traditionally sticky stick. You know, hey, Shoshi.
Yeah.
What's brown and sticky?
A stick? What's a combustion engine but a bunch of sticks on fire?
But bunch of sticks just doing stick stuff. That's what a computer is.
Yeah. Lines of code, just sticks.
Yeah. How do you get it on your computer?
You use your sticks.
Will you be a stick? Stick drive. Oh yeah, I forgot the lightning. That's also important. Sticks and lightning.
Yeah. Fire, really. We're just manipulating energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get down to it. Fire good, magic bad. It's pretty straightforward way to live your life, I think. My opponent, has a more lax attitude towards magic. My opponent doesn't scream at the sun when it rises in the morning to keep it from rising. That's why I should be president of our cave. That wasn't a strong finish. I was trying to turn that into Stone Age politics.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, no, I like it. My opponent. Yeah, no, that's good. I got where you were going. I liked it.
I like this let's kill the gods idea too. Who's up for a little rang rock and roll?
Fire Battery, pretty. Hard to argue with that. Yeah.
Still like let's do it. Let's kill the gods.
We did.
Oh,
It already happened.
Thank you, Nietzsche. Oh wait, no, he was the one God is dead and we have killed him.
Something, I don't know.
Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was never goth enough to read Nietzsche.
Yeah, I was into philosophers for a while, and then I realized that a majority of them didn't think women were fully human people. And it's really hard to think anyone's smart or knows what they're talking about if they can't figure out that women are people. So I'm not really so into philosophy anymore. You can't be that smart. I've said that to other people, and they're like, but that means you would dismiss a lot of great thinkers. I'm like, yeah, agreed.
Sorry, you're reminding me of something I was thinking about. I often get very frustrated at Christian teachings that are hateful, just because I hate bad interpretations of text. Well, I mean, I love bad interpretations of text. I won't be wrong. I hate that kind of lazy self thing, like, well, let me prove what I want to prove kind of thinking.
Yeah,
which is just
like when that one pope was like, I'm infallible. Go find some verses that make that true.
well, I mean, like, if the doctrine of papal infallibility is that the station is infallible, not the person. I will say, technically, it's not that he is infallible. It's that God won't allow the Pope to do the wrong thing. But it's not because of him. It's the title. But yeah, Paul. Paul is a big part of that. Because, like, so I guess the thing I thought of that I think should be a thing is that, like, you can make any argument or interpretation in Paul or anything you can, as long as it still adheres to the 2 commandments that Joshua ben Joseph gave us. Like, if it's still, like, you can say, like, oh, well, I should be rude to a disbeliever because that should encourage them to believe or something, or whatever BS Paul says. I don't think he actually makes that argument directly. But you can say, like, okay, you can justify that through that text, but does it count as loving everyone and loving God? Is that an act of love? And being mean is not an act of love. So it fails. Like, you still, I feel like you still have to justify it to the most fundamental point of the philosophy. When the single most important thing is just 2 rules, that's it. It feels like it shouldn't be so hard. Like, you should kind of have to justify everything against those rules, as well as whatever scriptural argument you're making.
No, I think it's because
Okay, no, this isn't fully formed enough to talk about. I'm sorry. It needs more time.
no, it's good. It's good.
There's an idea there. I just don't know how to actualize it.
Yeah. I think, therefore, I am. But do you?
That's okay. Okay, but let's get into what he was actually trying to do, because it was also very different from how that is interpretation, and
Well,
also
yeah, that's true.
very stupid, and it's on its own merits. Because you get, number one, solid. I'm thinking I must be a part of the thought. That I recognize myself. That's the first piece of intuitive knowledge. Second piece, there are other people. There's stuff happening to me that I'm not choosing. Obviously, there's thing. Part 3 is that there is a creator.
Yeah, you're like, where'd you get that one?
That's a big
That's
jump.
the next one.
That's a big jump.
Yeah, big jump.
I mean, I do believe we intuitively hope for some sort of a purpose to horrifying machinations that mostly seem random and or spiteful. But that's just a human yearning. We're also hungry. We don't have food.
All important questions.
It just seems like, right, you could say, well, I'm around, there's other people, and I have a hierarchy of needs that I will discover throughout my life, from physical to emotional well-being.
Well, and
That's what
There's
you're
also a
trying to
whole
say.
thing where that hierarchy of needs is also like
Oh.
not really accurate. But that's a whole other conversation.
Yes, and I mean, Bread and Puppet used to do the Circus of the Seven Basic Needs, which was basically calling out the fact that the Laszlo hierarchy doesn't reflect the need for community.
Well, and you can actually like invert the hierarchy of needs, and it actually ends up better for everyone. Like, if you think about having society as like your first basic need is that everyone is like self-actualized and deserves equal treatment, like if that's the bottom need rather than the top need, things actually work better.
Well, I think there is something very genius to the hierarchy of needs, because the hierarchy of needs is the gauntlet we are put through by capitalism.
Yeah, and if that's not in the thing, then you don't need to tell people that you need to like feed your children. That's just a thing that happens in community.
But also, like, you don't have to discover that you need to eat food and stay in, like, you figure that out quickly.
Like we know that.
Yeah, but the gauntlet you are put through by capitalism is to provide those basic survival needs, and that's the order they want you to worry about it. And that's why self-actualization is far at the end, so that you don't upset the apple cart.
Get apples all over the place.
I will say,
because if you upset the apple cart, then everybody gets apples. We wouldn't want that.
And you won't have any. You'll be mini apple-less.
Whoa! What?
Brought it back to St. Paul.
What?
That is the correct response, Fog. Thank you.
Well, on that note, we're at time. Right, exactly. And everyone will have apples.
Yeah, it's not like they grow on trees or something.
Yeah.
It's not like food grows on trees.
I love, like, money doesn't grow on trees. No, but almost everything humans need to survive does. So...
Words might grow on trees.
Well, we've got to go. That's our end of time.
I don't know if that's even what Fog was responding to, but the next time somebody says money doesn't grow on trees, I think I want to say, words might.
Words might. And then they're going to be like, they're going to have to think about it.
Which is just a losing proposition for everyone.
I love it. All right. That's our show today. It was a weird one, but we got through it. Next week I'll try and have an actual craft, y'all.
Yeah, thanks for putting up with this. We're you know, I don't know. The world is crazy. I think it's okay if
you're just surviving.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's great to be here every week. I love it. And have our chats with the chat. Chat. And then there's this one.
And then there's the friend zone.
Aw. That's nice. And then there's friends.
I love friendship. Yeah. And then there's thumb wrestling.
Yeah. And then there's making out.
So there's happy llama, sad llama, mentally confused llama, super llama, trauma llama, big fat mama llama, moose.
Smooth
Thanks.
transition.
Crafting, crafting, crafting with Joshi and Cubby. What will we make today? What is the dice of the day? Crafting, creating, collaborating. What would an octopus say? Trivia questions, hooray! Creating, clickbaiting, can't hardly waiting for the crafting show. A crafting show with Cubby and Shoshi.